On 18th August 2021, a 20-year-old was reported dead by Canadian officials at the Niagara Falls. The story made a few headlines for about a week. It emerged that the victim, a Texan named Jeremy who went by the name Gilberts, was heavily into water stunts. He had first experienced the thrill of water stunts while jumping off his home's roof into the swimming pool at the age of 17 and never looked back. When I wrote the article over the story for the New York Times, I couldn't help but notice just how relevant the story felt to me as a person and to my view of society. I was given a 24-hour deadline to write, and when I published it, the story became a hit for the next morning. Over the day, some intense debates unfolded on Twitter. Some people dignified his character under the name of creative temperament, claiming that he had an extraordinary gift for hope, while for others, Gilberts represented everything for which they have unaffected scorn. Of course, neither side was able to go beyond cliches in their arguments. As I'd like to put it, none of the commentators went into the waves for answers. Before we begin, I would like to thank the wonderful crew here at Arnav's World that has agreed to assist me on my quest to tell this tale. None of us agreed on whether Gilberts was a hero or an idiot. We still don't. However, we somehow saw eye to eye on the whole project, as if the most crucial question at hand hardly mattered. That is the power of the story, and I hope you get a chance to experience the same. And now we dive into the life of the mysterious Gilberts.
Life in the fast lane, surely make you lose your mind. Life in the fast lane, life in the fast lane, everything all the time. Life in the fast lane.
And we now move to an exclusive interview with Gilberts' best friend and the owner of the Dimsdale Resort down in Galveston, James Sawyer. James, thank you so much for agreeing to join our documentary. Now, could you start by explaining your relationship with Gilberts and what he meant to you and your community?
Well, first of all, I just want to thank Arnav's World for giving me the opportunity to come here and talk about Jeremy. He was really like a best friend to me from the time he moved down from Fort Worth to Houston to work as a janitor at our Dimsdale Resort. And everyone just loved him there, you know. He was really a beacon of hope to people because he was so happy. He was the one guy that believed he could achieve all his dreams, and everyone just was rooting for him, you know. And the way he showed up to work every day, he was always ready to be there and always ready to be working and to be the hardest worker and outwork everyone. And because of that, we really like to let him use our water equipment because, like we heard earlier on the show, he loved water sports. He got his start, I think, jumping off his roof when he was 17. But he just loved to be that kind of adventurous, and he was almost naive about how he thought he could do all his adventures and everything would go right. And you know, unfortunately, it led to his death, and his death hit hard in Houston, and it really hurt me a lot because he was like a brother to me. You know, it was kind of like a stab in the heart. It was really hard for all of us.
And when you say naive, what exactly do you mean by that?
He kind of had this idea about him where he kind of grew to think that dreams were more important than reality. He was more focused about achieving his goals and doing things he thought sounded cool rather than things that were practical. For instance, he stopped driving his car around and just started hitchhiking everywhere he went, no matter the weather, you know, just that kind of stuff.
And do you think that he wanted to come back?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think he definitely saw this more as like a one thing to check off his bucket list, an adventure he didn't want to regret not doing more than, okay, I'm leaving for good. But I would say that had he survived, he definitely would have come back, and he had every intention of coming back to us.
I'm sure he did. And now just one final question before you go. You gave the hint that all the guys at the resort tried to show him the right way and save him. Do you think that society really could have saved him, or perhaps did society contribute to his death?
Gosh, that's a tough one. I mean, you see so many free-spirited people like Gilbert's. People say society choked them, and to the extent they're probably right. I think we don't necessarily let them dream as much as we should. I would say that humankind is built on society and social reasons, however, and it might be a tragedy to not let your dream fully happen, but we still need society. And it sucks when society crushes your dreams, but I wouldn't say that society crushes all hope, because it doesn't. It just honestly doesn't. The majority of people often, because the majority of people often share the same aspirations. Like, you and I might not be the same, but we all want to be successful. We all want to have a culture that's good for our posterity, our kids, and our future relatives. But I think it's just that maybe society adds more pressure, and but that we still need to trust in society a bit more. Society makes a person feel complete, like nothing else can. Even Gilbert's recognized that at the end of his life, and it's just a tragedy he couldn't have had his dream come true and lived in society. But at our resort, we always say that we've always believed that happiness is only real when it's shared. And I still believe that even after the tragedy and loss of my best friend. So
It's a wonderful piece of insight, and I'm sure it's definitely true. So thank you for your time. We tend to think that we are the best judges of this world, that we know all there is to know, that we understand everything there is to understand. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just need to take a step back and look at things from a different angle. You may be very quick to make an opinion about Gilbert's, but we ask that today you take a step back and try to understand his motivations, his character, what he truly was beneath the surface of his actions from perhaps a different perspective. In Gilbert's diary, the last entry from the day he died reads, and I quote, "I will now fulfill the dream of my life, and then I will be free from the ambition of my restless mind, free to settle into the social life which I initially abhorred, yet have now come to treasure over the months. I now stand ready to finish one phase of my life and flow effortlessly into the rest." Gilbert as a person showed his improvement. James was clearly able to verify his growth. Some say that he was an idiot, others hail him as a freedom fighter. He was both, yet none at all. Beneath the waves of this mysterious soul lies the ultimate truth. Also, we may never know the role of society in the lives of such free-spirited people, free-spirited individuals, I should say. Do we help them, or do we kill them? Do we choke them to death, or do we save them? I leave you today with the hope that maybe you will consider the other sides, the ones you know exist, and the ones you may later come to realize exist beneath the waves. They can change your life. Then you can change the lives of others, of the countless Gilberts that will come, and of the countless people that you will encounter in your life that may not be Gilberts, but may just be the person next door, your best friend. On behalf of Arnav's World, we thank you for your time.